Yeehaw! And howdy, folks, and welcome to Texas for the ANZCAR series here for Thunder on Locked On iRacing. Locked On Lads TV here for Locked On iRacing. I'm Carl Wilkinson with you. Joining me tonight in the booth is Mr. Peter Wilco Wilkinson. How you going, Wilco?
I don't know. A little bit speechless right now. That was not planned, and I did not approve that for this broadcast. Well, I'm going good. How are you, Carl? How's yourself? Let's get into that first.
Well, I'm absolutely fine, partner.
Uh,
I'm absolutely ready for this race here at COTA. We are back on a road course. We are here at, as we say, Texas for the Southern Star 86 here in the Lone Star State. It is going to be a pretty different race tonight, isn't it?
yeah, definitely. Obviously, they've got to turn right and left. It's a little bit confusing. There is this pedal that's next to the accelerator, and it's going to be really tough. And gears as well. It's always interesting going to a road track in a NASCAR, which is not built for obviously road tracks, especially one with so technical as COTA is. Definitely made for things that can actually go over bumps and all that kind of stuff. So it's going to throw the cat amongst the pigeons, as we say, with the results, but yet we still sit here watching the current practice sessions with Dyson on top, Hamish Gallagher second, Michael Sculloch third, and Jaden Russell fourth. So, yeah.
Yeah, look, it's a track. Well, it's one of those situations where we're going to see a few new faces up the top, of course. The road racers will be out there, and it's kind of their specialty, so I expect to see a few new faces up there. But we do know that Dyson is one of those road racing aces, so he is probably going to be hard to catch. Don't discount somebody like Jaden Russell, Dylan O'Shea as well. Sean Hurley is looking pretty good, as well as Luke Trahair tonight, as we just click over from practice into the qualifying session. And before we get there, we should probably quickly run through the championship standings in the Thunder series. So round 5, well, we're on round 6 now, aren't we, of course?
Yeah.
So after 5 rounds, it is Hamish Gallagher in the lead currently, 27 points ahead of Michael Sculloch in second. Jaden Russell in third, 33 points off the lead. 38 points down is Ruben Phelps in fourth. Josh Micklemore, 65 off the lead in fifth. Six is Nigel Patton, 68 points down. 76 points down in seventh is Norman Clark. Dave Douglas sits in eighth, 80 off the lead. Lachlan Urquio, 86 off the lead in ninth. And 10th is Maddie Ray, 90 points off the lead. The one thing you've got to look at there is Hamish Gallagher's lead. It is pretty big after 5 rounds.
Yeah, definitely. We heard from the start he is focusing on the Xfinity this series. The Thunder is where he's at, and he's definitely proving that. It's interesting to see going through the stats at the moment. Both him and Jaden Russell got the 2 wins amongst them, and I think I can't remember who the third one was who has had a win, but these guys are dominating the series at the moment, and I don't think that's going to change anytime soon. Obviously, one little bad mistake can help him out, but the big difference is obviously what we call the technical failure for Jaden Russell, with that internet dropping him out and throwing him into the wall and finishing his race is the big difference between those two. But there's an interesting fight going on for the minor places, and that's where I'll be looking for a little while. We do have a graphic coming up soon. I haven't got it ready yet, but we will have the championship standings up fairly soon in one of the future broadcasts. So look out for that. Mark Johansson in chat loves your get up, by the way, Carl. So let's get into. I can't really take you. You can't give us an explanation of what this track's all about because there is so much to go there. But give us a little bit of history.
Well, we can go for a bit of history, of course. COTA built outside of Austin, Texas, near a place called, I think it's Wandering Creek, I think. Built back in, 2010, I think it was now. So having to think, their brain is having to actually go back. So opened back in 2012, built on a former rubbish dump. So that is that's one of those few things that people forget about COTA. It is actually reclaimed land and was built on the site of an old rubbish tip. And many will say that emphasizes the track a little bit, as it's not everybody's favorite circuit, but it does add to its bumpiness, of course. COTA is one of those tracks that is very technical. It's a tricky place. It's a Tilkedrome track. Herman Tilke designed, of course, and approved, so Formula One cars love it. It does make for some interesting spots, as we see when we get to some qualifying laps. I'm just trying to browse through and see who we got. Jaden Russell starting his lap right now, heading up towards turn 1. Let's see if we can run through a bit of this track right now. So up through turn 1, big, long, steep hill upwards, brings you down towards this sweeping
You might
turn
be on
2.
replay mode still, mate, because Jaden's in the S's at the moment.
Yeah, just in the S's now. As we get there, so coming down towards the S's now, the tricky S's, and this will head up towards turns 9 and 8 as we get round those very shortly here. You go up over this brow, and then it is downhill from turn number 10 down to 11. The very, very tight left-hander that takes you onto the big, long back straight. This circuit, about 2.5 kilometers in length. So it is a very long circuit indeed. Of course, you get a little bit of the slipstreaming effect down this back straight because it is so long. But you have to be careful of the braking spot as you head down towards 12. Underneath this little AMCO here, you're going to be watching out for this little bit of ripple strip here. Brake about here now. On the brakes he goes and loses the rear end. Bang! Jaden Russell goes round, brakes a little bit too late, and that is going to hurt an enormous amount. Of course, to get to another qualifying lap here, so he's going to try and take about second lap. Will he, or will he jump out? I think he's going to jump out, actually, unfortunately.
Well, we're on board with Tristan Cock at the moment. Doesn't just made successfully the left-hander into the tight two left-handers through the arena area, which is a hard one because you're sitting in first gear the whole way around here, and you hit the rev limiter about here. Then it's all about turning left really hard, but getting on that throttle extremely quickly as you get out into the last couple of corners, turns I think about 15 through 19, as they sweep you all the way around, left-hander after left-hander, until you get into the second last corner, which is a nice fast right-hander, but you can quickly head off onto the outside of the track there, which is an off-track /1X in iRacing, and then the all-important final turn, because the start-finish line is extremely close here, and there is once again another off-track there, but Tristan Cock goes across the line to set a time which will put him in 10th place.
Yeah, nice run there. Making it through the track is important, and making it through clean is one of the hardest things because it's so easy to get a 1X, and that's your qualifying lap over and done with. Of course, it is a longer qualifying session here tonight. It's a 10-minute session rather than a normal 5 minutes because it is such a long lap here. Sort of general lap times we're getting at the moment. Michael Scarlett currently in first position on pole with a 2 minutes 14 second lap. Tristan Koch down there 2 minutes 21. It is a very, very long lap indeed, and you need that bit of extra time to get out there and manage the 2 flying laps.
Yeah, that's it. So it's not just the fact that you've got to do a 2 minute 20 lap, you've got to actually do the 2 minute 20 out lap. So it is a very long time. One little mistake can put you at the back of the grid, which in a race like this, you don't want to be there, because obviously you're giving 10 odd seconds up to the front of the pack straight away, plus you've got to work your way through, and you're putting yourself in danger of a hell of a lot of accidents that can happen with these things. Carl, when you put your foot down in ANZCAR and she's not pointing straight, where does she go?
Well, usually it'll find the nearest fence, gravel trap, or roof. So there are many places it goes, and none of them are good, unfortunately. It is a really tricky track to drive on. A few of the drivers had a bit of practice on Monday night, of course, with the truck race, and I can say from experience it was not an easy race. It's one of those places where it really takes it out of you because it is such a long track. You're constantly having to keep an eye where you are as well. It's very easy to get a little bit lost here sometimes because some of the landmarks do look a little bit alike, and you'll be going through the corners going, okay, oh, there I am.
Yeah, that's it.
It's very hard to get acclimatized sometimes here. The other thing you've got to watch out for as well are the big yellow sausage curbs, and they are deadly in a open wheeler, as Wilco and myself will testify from a Skippy Barber standpoint. Those things are never fun in a skip, but in an ANZCAR, they can really hurt you as well. They can damage the suspension or even give you such a big kick. You're going to end up either flying off your horse or spinning around.
Yeah, definitely. They are the best thing to break suspensions in anything open wheeler. They put a V8 almost on its roof, but these things, I was hitting them nicely, I thought, and then all of a sudden I got one wrong, and Yeah, you're up on two wheels and you're heading in any direction but the place you want to go. Obviously, NASCAR likes going straight. There's not many chances for this car to go straight on this track, but makes them sort of a menace to use. And the brakes are built for slowing you around a corner, not for stopping you at a hairpin from 300 k's an hour. So if you miss your braking marker here, you can miss the corner, I think, by about 50 to 60 meters. I did one on the weekend. Yesterday when I was practicing. So
If you miss your braking marker here, you end up in Mexico generally. So it's a pretty bad situation to be in. Obviously, as you said, they don't like to stop, and that is a huge thing. The other thing, of course, is the brakes get cold. When you're going along those big straights into those big stopping sections, your brake temperature drops, and sometimes it can really throw you out. It's easy to lock a tire in these cars as well. Of course, there's no ABS, there's no traction control. These things have 700 horsepower to them, so they are just absolutely wild to drive around here. There's not really too much difference in time between the three, effectively the trucks, the Xfinity, and the Cup car. The Cup car will just have a little bit better time just because of its slight aero advantages. Jaden Russell gets his clean lap in and jumps up to second place.
I was keeping a very close eye on that because I couldn't see him on the time board. Obviously, he had his 1X, and yeah, that's a very good result for him considering where he was a moment ago.
Yeah, really good comeback there. Very nicely done indeed. As we're counting down to the last seconds, I think most drivers are pretty much done. Matt Hunter just finishing up his lap. He's got into turn 17. Where is he? No, actually, he's in turn 13, sorry. So he's got a long way to go still. Only 22 seconds, 20 seconds to get there. I don't think he's going to make it. In all honesty, it's going to be very tight indeed. There's a long way to go here to make it to the end.
We have got Sean Hurley coming across the start-finish line now. The last chance for him to jump up from 7th position. And his time is not an improvement by the look of that.
Moves up to 6th.
Oh, no, there it is. Look at that, one position up ahead of Josh. And that is the checkered flag for practice. Qualifying, that's what I said. Don't argue with me.
Exactly what you said. There is no replay button, so we can't go back and verify it. So we have to say you said that for sure. Okie dokie. So let's grid up here tonight for the Southern Stars 86 here in the Lone Star State of Texas, COTA, round 6 of the ANZCAR Thunder Series here on Locked On iRacing, Locked On Lads TV. I keep saying Locked On iRacing for some reason.
You know who we are, do you?
I bet sometimes I do. All right, let's go through the grid. So on the front row, we have Michael Skerlock taking pole position just ahead of Jane Russell on the outside row. Row 2, we have Hamish Gallagher and Kai Turner. Next up, we have Luke Traher, Sean Hurley. Then row number 4 is Micklemore and Hickey. Then it's Schultz and Wellman, Georgeson, Dornack. Down in 13th and 14th, we have Carol Walden and Raymond. 15th and 16th is Douglas and Clark. Rollock and Fenley. Rollock and Koch down in 17th and 18th. 19th, 20th is Fenley and Tompkins. Then we have Jaeger, Spencer, Dyson, O'Shea, Phelps, Hunter, Nankervis, and Patton. So quite a few people not setting a time. Interesting to see how Daiso and O'Shea go. These two are incredibly quick. They had a banger of a race on Monday night in the Truck Series, so it will be interesting to see how this one plays out.
Yeah, look, I tried to keep up with you with the grid, and the grid's still not working. We have got another one of them practiced and ready to go, but we just aren't ready to show that yet. But look, it's going to be exciting. Are these guys really doing a full... Where are they?
No, they're not. Round by
I see
turn... where are we? Turn... I think just before turn 15, I think.
Yeah, they've got to be around there. I can't get them on one of the little things, but that's okay. We've got a there we go. They're at the back straight there.
Yeah. Luckily, it is not a full out lap.
Thank God. I was just getting panicky. We've got some pretty cool little cameras. I've just got to get them worked out tonight. We've got a few drone little area shots. I just got to work out where they are. So as the field comes around, there is every chance that we will have a accident on the caution on the out part. The pace sort of, I can't call it a pace lap, can I, Carl? It's a pace little couple turns. But
pace jog. That's it. It's a little jog to the start finish line, but it's enough to get some temperature in those tyres. Drivers will be holding their brakes a little bit, trying to cycle a little bit of heat into the tyres through the brakes to get ready for the start of this race. Of course, it's a big long run up to that hill. You can use a little bit of the draft to get an advantage up into turn one. Turn one, of course, is going to be treacherous, so watch out for that one at the start.
Yeah, definitely. They've Skurlock knows how to get traction off the line, so and he has got the inside run to turn one, which is the interesting part of the way these guys grid up. So he's got every advantage here, and he should be able to put it out the front. But we'll see how we go. Hamish behind, obviously wanting to get there. Kai Turner is interesting to see him up there, which is really good to see. See how he goes off the line. And behind him, Sean Hurley, as we were talking about before, and Luke Trahair. Always in for a good shot if any of these front runners make a mistake. But it's all about consistency tonight. 25 laps of not making a mistake will get you a top 10 guaranteed. And they're off.
Bolts away. He absolutely runs away like a scolded cat at the start. Does not wait for Hamish to even get round the corner. That gives him a nice jump. Look behind him though. Big run for Luke Trahair up into turn one, getting on the inside of Kai Turner. Doesn't quite make it. A little bit of contact between Turner and Gallagher back there. They make it through the corner cleanly. Does everybody get through? It looks like everybody has got through turn one relatively safely. Still filtering through at the back. That's how long this field is. But we get into the end for the first time tonight, and on these cold tyres, it's going to be a tricky thing to get these cars turned in and pointing in the right direction.
Yes,
as
but
Kai Turner has a big moment in the middle of the corner. He's next to Hamish Gallagher. They are very close to each other as it goes from outside to inside, but Turner manages to get the corners in the end. Look at Hurley trying to get past Gallagher as well. All the pressure on Gallagher at the moment.
yeah, it is, and very interesting to see. There's a I just really noticed that Andrew Dyson's way back down the field here. He must be doing the first challenge.
Oh, big lunge by the 56 into Turner. That was disastrous for Kai Turner. That has taken him pretty much out of this race. Unfortunate there for Kai. He did nothing wrong there. That was just a huge lunge. Lock up by the 56. The 408 is out of this race.
Oh yeah, that's a hard hit and straight into the wall to just rub the salt into the wounds, unfortunately. Can we get that from another angle? I don't think we can.
Yeah, it went for a big dive down the inside of Hamish Gallagher, locked up the wheels a little bit, just a little bit of a late lunge there. And unfortunately,
he's come from 3 lengths back.
Yeah, and that's just disastrous and a huge impact into Kai, and that's pretty much his night over and done with. Real shame because Turner was on pace tonight, and it's been good to see Kai back in the series, but we do not want to see him going out like that. That was disastrous. Meanwhile, up the front, Skulk is in the lead, just ahead of Jaden Russell. Meanwhile, a little bit further back, in 9 positions so far in the race, we've got Andrew Dyson and O'Shea. Dave Douglas up 6 positions, Mirko Dortnak up 4. These guys are starting to move through the field. Good battle going on between Daiso and Georgeson at the moment. Georgeson got the inside coming off the corner. Can't quite hold it there as Dyson gets good traction out of the corner. Up the start, finish straight. Will O'Shea make the move as well? Side by side up towards turn number 1. That big steep uphill section. Georgeson holding the inside line in the 274. The 019 on the outside. He's going to try and get a good run off the corner. Dyson just gets a little lock up in front. Little puff of smoke we saw there. But O'Shea makes the move stick. It is O'Shea and Dyson trying to charge their way through the field at the moment. A little bit further ahead is Dave Douglas. He's moving forwards nicely. Bill Hickey and Josh Micklemore also gaining a couple of spots in this race.
Yeah, definitely. It's really starting to show who really stuffed up their quality and who didn't, as these guys battle through the field. But we've got Skurlock and Russell here. Skurlock has come back to Russell a little bit here, but they're both 4 seconds now ahead of Hamish Gallagher. Obviously, a track like this, tyres will become an issue, and at some stage we do expect a pit stop from these guys, and we will see how long it takes before those especially those rear tyres start to get out, but the front ones will be the hardest hits, so they'll start missing corners and not slowing as much. But there's a big gap there that Jaden and Michael Skurlock have put on to Hamish Gallagher at the moment. Oh, so much to watch, Carl. So much happening on the streets of COTA. Well, not the streets, but the track of COTA. But yeah, so Dyson has just carving up through the field. So he's just got Gary Wellman as well. Very good. Just basically a league ahead of these guys that he's going around.
Tristan Cox
Well, we have.
losing the car in the corner and just manages to save it. Luckily doesn't get run into by Matty Hunter. So watch this. Loses the rear end. Big spin there. I think that was Ruben.
Oh.
Well, just in front of him. But yeah, nice awareness there from Matty Hunter to not get caught up in that wreck.
Yeah, definitely. There's a... What was that? I think I'm live. That's Tristan again, just gone around as well. One of the interesting things, as coming from a bit of a road background myself, the interesting thing is once you heat up those tires, they are useless until you cool them back down again, and it's very hard, especially in these big beasts, to cool them back down again. So you got to be super careful. One spin generally leads to about 3 or 4 spins if you're not careful, or you sacrifice the lap time to cool them down. So I think that's what Tristan's experiencing just there. And apologies, Tristan, for throwing 2 spins in a row as he pops his way back down. Something's happened to Nigel Patton. I haven't seen what that was. It came up to say that he had a crash before, but he's right down the back of the field as well. Him and Raymond Jaeger are not in the best positions from where they started. As we watch...
just losing it coming into the final corner, just breaks a little bit too late and locked up going through that section there. Big damage for who is that just behind Peyton there? Greg Spencer. Lot of damage to the front of that car.
Oh wow.
He's in pit lane. He's just come out of pit lane. So I'm trying to see what actually happened.
It's just recent too. So it might have been something previous to that, because it's telling me that Greg Spencer has just crashed only a second ago. But yeah.
Oh, he had a big moment just coming out of the S's. Up over 10, just that little kink. He just went a bit too fast through that little kink over 10. It's straight into the wall.
Interesting. Dylan O'Shea's car's not straight at the front either. Something's happened there with him at some stage as well. His front bonnet is all looking a bit weird for the Camaro there. But yeah. Interestingly enough, JCW behind him is also looking the same on the front.
So I can jump in with that one. JCW had contact at the start of the race. So Dylan O'Shea made contact with Gary Wellman as he was trying to get past. Just a little nudge in the back and just a little bit of damage there to his car. JCW at the start of the race ran into the back of somebody as there was a little checkup going up into that first corner. As we said, got to watch out for that first corner. It is so easy to make a mistake up there.
Yeah, definitely. As we go back to this pack that is chasing down the leaders, or not really chasing down, they're now 5 to 6 seconds behind, but we're on board with the one and the only Josh Micklemore here as he sits behind Hamish Gallagher, and I guess we plays the waiting game to see whose tires go off first, as Dave Douglas in the background there shows some grip as he comes around the final corner and gets it past Bill Hickey, and also drags the 2 Sim Racing cars, Sim Rigs cars with them as well. We must shout out the sponsor for tonight's race is the Southern Stars, so thank you for coming on board for this, which is a nice little initiative that ANZCAR has come up with, the teams being able to sponsor a race in the following season. So there is a Locked On Lads race, Locked On Racing Car event coming up in the next couple of weeks. But yeah, Southern Stars, thank you for that. We're going to show that a little bit more in the new overlays, but it's all happening down the back here. We've got Jamie Namkervis and Nobby Tompkins there. Nobby's back of his car doesn't look the best either. There's some walking wounded cars as we're 4 laps into 25. But yeah, these guys are having a bit of fun and they're out there and they're making it happen. But the pack to watch currently... Oh, hold on. Big moment at the front.
Skurlock has gone around as he goes down to turn 11.
Let's grab the replay. Let's see what happens.
So we'll go to the replay here. So he's just going down into the corner and loses the rear, gets a bit too much power, and she goes right around like a pendulum. That is going to hurt those rear tyres. That's going to boil them up, and it's going to take a good lap or 2 for them to cool down.
Oh yeah, 100%, exactly what we were just talking about. So let's go back live and let's see where he is. If anyone can do it, he can. But yeah, he's got Hamish all over him, which is the other bad thing about road racing is you've got your mirrors fill up really quickly. I'm sure Skirley's not taking any notice of it, but there's got to be some part of him that sees a little bit of Hamish's car in the background there, just making him push that little bit harder, which he probably shouldn't be right now. But that gives Jaden Russell The box seat now for yet another win, unless Dyson, who's closed the gap down to 9 seconds between him and the leader now, as he battles his way through the field with O'Shea coming behind him as well. Luke Trahare's doing a really good job just sitting back there in 5th as well. Very well done there. A very good job from him. You can see there that gap on the main straight there. Looking very, very good for Jaden as he scoots away and opens it up to almost 4 seconds now.
Yeah, pulling it away there. Jaden Russell having a nice run at the start of this race. He's just got to try and keep that car settled now and keep the pace up. He's got a good bit of a gap, and Dyson and O'Shea have made it hard of themselves tonight. They decided they wanted to try something a bit different, starting at the back and give themselves a little bit more of a challenge. Not to say that they wouldn't have a challenge out there on their own, but they are very quick on the road courses, as we know. So they decided to try a little bit of a trickier race, starting a bit further behind and get a few overtakes under their belt to try and get that prize for the end of the season as well, which is always a nice thing to get. But they are having a really good run at the moment, up in 6th and 7th. But they started to stall a little bit, struggling to make up the ground that they did early on. They're still setting some good laps. Last time around, Andrew Dyson was a 2:16, very fast lap indeed. So they are catching on Luke Trahare in Nightcrawler Racing entry, but it's whether they can do it in the next 20 laps. There is a big gap of well, where are we? About 10 seconds now between themselves and the leader, Jaden Russell. We know Jaden Russell is a quick driver, but one thing that's going to help him is Micklemore, Gallagher, and Trahare are having a good battle in front of them. The more they battle, the quicker it will be for Dyson and O'Shea to catch them. But as we know in motorsport, Peter, catching is one thing.
Overtaking is a completely different thing. So just quickly, just looking at the times, like it's down to 7.5 seconds now between Dyson and Jaden, and I mentioned only moments ago that it was at 9 odd seconds. He is lapping, last lap is almost 2 seconds quicker than Hamish Gallagher, put it that way, or 1.5 seconds quicker than Hamish Gallagher, which is almost 1.5 seconds better than our leader, almost 2 seconds better than our leader. So 20 laps doesn't seem like enough right now, or to me. As you can see, the leader on the home straight, it's obviously going to make him just that little bit quicker as well. Skirley's done well considering. Only a lap or two ago he was spinning. He's held off Hamish really well, but that gap out to Jaden, or as I say that, he goes wide and Hamish gets to run through the S's, and Josh is there to push him through as well. This will be very interesting, going too wide through the S's, as Skirley takes the very unconventional route of going wide there. But he does lose those two positions, and Luke Trahare and Andrew Dyson are going to be there to capitalise on his very, very poor entry into a few of those corners. They're just going to get the better run, which means in the space of basically one sector, Skirley's gone back 4 spots, which I'm just wondering if that wear he did to those tyres is just starting to show right now.
Yeah, losing 4 spots in 7 corners is a hard thing to take. And the trouble with that one is he was forced offline by Gallagher. Gallagher positioning his car perfectly, and Skurlock couldn't really recover because he was just in an odd spot. And then all of a sudden, you got cars beside you, and you can't go back online. Who was that?
Jamie Nankervis has just had a off. Doesn't look too bad. A lot of smoke involved. But we will check it out. That's a little bit farther back. He's doing doughies already, celebrating. He's had a good race.
Yeah, having a good celebration. Just catches a bit too much curb in the S's and it loops the car around. That's something else you've got to be a bit cautious here at COTA, is the curbs that they are inviting, but some of them can really throw the car off balance. And these Xfinity cars have not got the most advanced suspension. They have got suspension,
have
but
they?
It's not. It's a spring. I'm pretty sure they got a leaf spring in there somewhere. Just
they're having a good lock up. I was like, because Dave Douglas seems to be having a bit of fun up front. I know it's Sean Hurley, same colours, different car. He's having a bit of fun there with Billy Hickey.
Dave Douglas is not having fun. No, he's had a big moment as he's lost
3
or
4 cars have just I've got having problems. I've got Nigel Patton, Luke Georgeson, and Nobby Tompkins is having more problems as well. As Dave goes off again, Dave's
Yeah, so
cooked those tyres big time.
that was kind of caused by Dave Douglas. Those guys just checking up and unfortunately just making tiny little bits of contact with each other. Dave completely looping the car and then really nowhere to go. He had to reverse it back to sort of save that one. But those rear tyres are cooked and he's having to come into pit lane. It's disastrous for Douglas there.
He's
That has
hit the wall.
He's done a Coulthard and annihilated the wall on pit entry there.
Let's see if I can find this. I've got to see this. I've been near a car that's done this in an open wheeler, and it's never good fun. Okay, no, we're not this far behind.
A nasty pit entrance here, and as you know, Wilco, it's a tricky pit entry here. You take a lot of speed,
especially if you've got some tyres that aren't in the best condition, like he has. Oh, and he's hit that hard. He's hit the pit wall into next week. Let's go live and let's go back up the front and see what's happening. As Andrew Dyson is now on a podium spot, chasing down Hamish Gallagher, who has actually opened up a nice lead ahead of Josh Mickleball, but now obviously Andrew Dyson's chasing him down. That difference in lap time is only about a minute now between them each lap, but I suspect that's probably in the overtaking of Josh Mickleball. At this stage, Skirley's gone back down to 7th, but look, I'm actually... We haven't seen Luke. I don't think Luke was here last week, but very good effort for him, especially on a road course here, putting that car into 6th position, as Billy Hickey may have had a bit of a moment as well, if you want to go back and check that one. He is going backwards down the field at the moment. So
yeah, he's had a big lock-up trying to get underneath.
As Mirko in front of him does the same thing. And Nobby's off again. So
big moments. It's tricky. I mean, this is where it starts getting hard. We're 7 laps in and these tyres will start to be absolutely baking here tonight. Of course, track temperature 33 degrees Celsius, so not the hottest track temperature you can have out in Texas, but it is still warm enough, and these things will be punishing their tyres. It gets harder and harder as you go on, the longer you go. Obviously, the fuel starts to burn down.
Ooh, we've got pit
so
stops.
It's a little bit lighter. As Sean Hurley has come to pit lane, so Sean Hurley coming in early, Hurley tonight, and I don't know if this is he's looking at maybe trying a 2-stopper.
You'd have to think it's a 2-stopper. I know. Last year when I did,
he's got a penalty.
He's just drove straight through. Yes, so you've got 12 incident points. Then you have to do a drive-through, and then 17, and you're disqualified. And we were mentioning it in the practice run in the qualifying. Still saying practice. The qualifying, that it is very, very easy to get a 1x, and you add a couple 4x's into that when you accidentally clip someone or you lose control for a 2x. That 12's not many at all. Especially if you take 1 or 2 every corner, and we're 8 corners in, there's 16 straight there. So he needs to be super careful for the rest of this race, being potentially only having 5 more up his sleeve. If maths works correctly in my brain, it'll only take 1 more little hit from someone accidentally, and he could be removed from the race altogether. I was going to ask you about strategies. Now, we assume it's a one-stop strategy. We were talking to people before. One seems like the most common result. There's no real advantage with the long pit stop for a 2-stopper in this one, I guess.
No, it's you're losing way too much time. It's a 40-second pit stop time, I reckon. 50-second maybe.
Yeah.
It's a long time down pit lane, and that is an awful lot of time to gain back up. Somebody like Dyson might be able to actually do it, because
I think he did it at Roval last year, to be honest, just to make fun of everyone.
He likes to show off a little bit. Dyson O'Shea, they are bloody quick. And that's that road racing speciality they have. And it's not to say the rest of the boys are slow. These guys are very quick out there. People like J. Russ and stuff like that, again, very quick on the road courses. But Daiso, he tends to take it to that next level. It's seen it in GT cars in the past with Dyson. He just is so very, very quick. And he's just got this smooth driving style when he needs to, and he just can keep the car going. So he might be able to work it out. A driver that's having a bit of a rough night is that man on the screen just before Ruben fell.
Sorry.
down there in 20,
I think
18th
he's
position
actually
at the
just had
moment.
another loss as well. Or Luke Jorgensen
So,
has as well.
so
He's
yeah,
not
a little
facing
bit.
the right way, poor Luke, coming out of the second last corner. Oh, and
Uh,
my screen's locked up. There we go. That'll
it's
be a
not where
couple
you
X right there for him as we're talking about incident points. Not only lost control, but he's had to go back out of the track to come back on it as well. But
Yeah,
yeah,
that
Ruben Phelps, you could see it. He had a spin. I went to him, and then he had another spin, or not a spin. He locked up and got very wide, and lost a position or two out of it. The tires is the key right now. Do you stop early? Do you stop halfway, or do you try and push it as long as you can and have some fresher rubber at the end? As we watch Luke go again, unfortunately.
Well, the undercut can be quite powerful, but I think you're probably going to be better off using that slight overcut. So the undercut is when you pit earlier than the car in front to try and take advantage of those fresh tyres. You're going to gain a lot of time on them, but your tyres are going to wear out before the driver in front of you, of course. So the overcut can work in your favour sometimes. I think, honestly, the undercut is the better option here tonight, but you can only really manage it by about a lap, maybe two if you're really, really brave, because these tyres start falling off the cliff, especially as you get down towards about lap 16, 17 mark. Good race going on between Aiden Schultz and Bill Hickey at the moment. Aiden Schultz just getting past Hickey. Hickey now back past Schultz. Good to see there that racing going on. Aiden Schultz, of course, I think the lone Southern Star entry out there tonight. I think his old paint scheme is on the car at the moment, so not showing his proper paint job. But the lone of the Southern Stars out there. So the lone star of the stars is in the Lone Star State. Many stars in that sentence, and I think that's too many stars.
Too many
in
stars.
honesty. But Bill Hickey is having a really good race with him at the moment.
Yeah, definitely is. I was going to Aiden before because I wanted to show a bit of Aiden going around. He's sitting there in 12th on a road track. This boy, I know I've had a chat to him before. If you want to check out Locked On iRacing podcast, we had a full interview with him, and his heritage is from road racing, which is really good to see. But as he goes the over-under there on Billy Hickey, he does a really good move. You can definitely see he's got that ability in him. But made his way up to 11th. Top 10 finish beckoning for Aiden Schultz, which is good for his effort he puts in.
Feeling you might be a little bit behind, possibly.
Really?
No, we're live now. No, it was just there was just a weird moment because it was showing.
Because Aiden's now in 10th. I think we've got a pit stop. Mirko Dorkin, is who I was actually going to comment on before too as well. Made a really good move up to, even though he'd had a few loose moments and he got those tyres really hot and got himself up in the top 10 really well. As he drops back down.
Coming up to the front, we've got to move for the lead of the race. It is Dyson on Russell as they go into turn 11. Dyson making the move, stick and getting the lead of the race. 22 positions gained so far tonight for Mr. Andrew Dyson. Just behind him, Dylan O'Shea. Jaden Russell trying to fight back here. He's going to try and brake a little bit later, but can't quite get that Synergy car on edge there. It is Dyson taking the lead now and getting in front. It's going to be Dylan O'Shea next. Watch out for O'Shea. He is very, very quick on the road courses. And we've seen him have some good positions in the ovals as well. He's coming along nicely, but this is his speciality. In the trucks last night, on Monday night even, it was Dyson versus O'Shea, and those two were battling most of the night. I think from memory, O'Shea may have just kicked Dyson to the post on that one. So it's a very close battle between them. But don't discount Jaden Russell at the moment. He is sitting in the middle, so he's still sitting in second place. O'Shea's got that bit of damage on him, not catching up quite as quickly. Daiso has got a good second in pace over the rest of the field at the moment. So he is really setting some fast laps. So he's going to start running away a little bit. But keep an eye on this battle.
Yeah, it's pretty interesting. I'm looking at they've just crossed the start finish line. Jaden Russell's actually got a 220 that last lap as O'Shea goes wide and then vanishes from my screen and then pulls it back up again. So 220 versus the 218 of Andrew Dyson. So there must have been a little bit more battling going on that we missed when we were down the back there. But Andrew's obviously got past, which obviously brought Jaden back to O'Shea, but O'Shea's made that little error, which is putting back in the clutches of Hamish just ever so slightly for the moment. So as we predicted, Yeah, the two Simrigs cars have worked their way right through the field, and they're at the front with 11 to go, and it's their probably race to lose it unless something silly happens in the pits or something like that. Andrew's way out in front. With 11
Well,
to, sorry, we're through 11. We've got 14 to go. We are going to see some actual proper pit stops from the Fries up front coming in very soon. As he goes wide there, Andrew Dyson.
I was going to say, watch out for those pit stops because it is very easy to make make a mistake in pit lane. If you speed,
Yes.
that can be your night over. Currently, the best lap of the night is Jaden Russell's, so he has got some pace underneath him. 16.065 for Russell, a 16.076 for Dyson. So there's not much between the two.
There's enough there, though. It's enough to say that there's a lead. The one's faster than the other.
Exactly. Meanwhile, we've got a good battle going on between Fenley and Hurley at the moment, down for P12. Those two are fighting it out nicely.
Yeah, they're definitely, and yeah, these pack. Matty Raymond's been very quiet as well as he always is. He's just sneaking himself up into ninth here. I know there are a couple stops here, but obviously we saw Mirko going for a bit of an undercut. I don't know if it was a big. I think it's too big an undercut, but we should see some of these guys starting to make the decision fairly soon.
I think Mirko might have been pulling out of the race, unfortunately, so I think his night is done.
Oh yeah, he's a lap down now. That's what we're watching.
He is out of this one, but good battle going on between these guys. A few battles going on throughout the track, but it's Jaden Russell coming into pit lane. So he's the first of the top guys to pit. He's coming in for that undercut. So he is coming in early here, J Russ. He is going to try and take that bit of pace early on, take the pain later in the race. So Jaden Russell coming in the 28. So how will this one go? Going to be an interesting fight back from J Russ. He's going to have some pace on those new tyres. It's going to help him a lot, but Dyson is still setting great laps out there. He's just set a 2:17 on very, very worn tyres. So he has still got the pace. He's still got some speed left in there, and it's something but you know, we've seen from Dyson in the past, he just manages to keep those tyres alive despite the fact he has a fairly long, hefty stint on them and puts them through a bit of punishment. He can just keep them going.
Yeah, definitely. He's back down to 2:17, which is only a second and a half off his fastest lap of the race. I'm just watching now. 30 seconds seems to be about the differential. 27 seconds, I'd say, because Jaden Russell was a little bit behind, but already the gap between him and Dyson is down to 29, 30. It's just hovering around that 30-second mark right now. So both drivers are up to speed. 29.4, I'm saying, I'm getting is the difference from the timing. So we will see if Dyson decides to come in this lap or next lap, but you chuck Jaden Russell sort of 29 seconds back up the field, and he still is holding on to that second place. So that's pretty interesting there.
So J Russell's just battling, just getting past Aiden Schultz now.
Yes.
So he is flying out there at the moment. So when is this going to happen? As just keeping an eye out through the field.
Yes. So just quickly watching that. So it's under 29 seconds now, the gap between Russell and Andrew Dyson. So this is exactly what we were talking about with the undercut. Jaden's obviously getting some good movements because he's got way more grip than the cars in front. Can just take Matty Raymond there with ease. Here we go. Hamish is into the pits. Hamish is still sitting in third. I'm getting Neil Pearson giving me advice from the YouTube, telling me something's happened, but or has something happened, but he's still there.
See anything there for Hamish? He lost a little bit of time to Mickelmore, but not much. So it's Gallagher, Mickelmore, Trahair, Skurlock all coming into pit lane. Does JCW follow? Yes, he does. So now it is go time. Lap 13, the halfway point. People chopping this race directly in half. But it is Dyson and O'Shea trying to take it a little bit longer. So they're going to try the overcut strategy. As we said, it's that slight different strategy game here. They're going to pay the price a little bit on these old tyres. Lose a little bit of time now, but then have fresh, juicy tyres for the end of the race. And that could be very useful for them.
So Jaden Russell, the gap here is 28 seconds currently. So he is eating that time out, and Look, I would not be shocked if he comes out, if Andrew Dyson comes out behind Jaden just slightly. But I don't think that's going to make a huge difference come the end of the race unless Jaden can find a little bit more pace out of that car for a little bit longer period.
Well, he could have the widest synergy car in existence as well. That could help him out here, of course. We have seen some great defensive driving in the past. So if he can defend that position, he'll be doing incredibly well.
It's
It's
down
not
to
going to be the easiest thing to do.
27. It's in the 26s now. He's really starting to. Um, he's got about 2 second differential on his lap times at the moment between him and Andrew Dyson. As Andrew gets a little bit wide, but he can control it there. Doesn't make any problems there. But yeah, he's definitely feels like he's going slightly slower, and then the timing board does show that. So I'm very interested to see if he comes in now, or he stops that pain, or he just wears it out and does another battle from the back. Oh, not from the back, but another battle up yet again. Because I think at this stage, Jaden's effectively in the lead. But
Dyson keeping out. I just wanted to point out they just got past Jamie Nankervis, who stopped a lap ago. So Jamie Nankervis on fresh tyres, and Dyson just sailing past him at the moment. Nankervis not a slow driver. We know Nankervis got some speed, but it is the difference on these road courses. Like these things, they really do punish you. If you're a couple of tenths off in a GT car, sometimes you can be a good second off in a Xfinity or a Cup car. It is a really big difference in the way these things go. So it can it can make you feel very self-conscious sometimes. But the big thing is don't, because these guys are just, I mean, Dyson's a bit of a freak. We know this. He's one of those aliens that's just very, very quick. But him and O'Shea really, really going well tonight. Jaden Russell is catching up, just set a 16.3, so 2:16.3, so good 2 seconds faster, and this is going to be an interesting one tonight.
Yeah, it definitely is. No, it's down to 25, so it's definitely coming down. Like I said, 2 or 3 seconds a lap. It's not going to make a difference at the end. It's just very interesting for our commentary at the moment for the picture we're trying to paint. Look, and I think I think we've got the top 3 is the way it's going to finish. It's that 4th through the 5th and 6th, which is pretty interesting now. Josh Micklemore versus Hamish Gallagher versus Skirley's dropped a fair way off there, so unfortunately he's sort of the start has not been as good as the finish for him. But Luke Trahere is just hovering around there, and it'd be interesting to see if Luke Trahere can actually get past Michael Skurlock by the end of the race. Let's go back here. We've got Nathan battling just ahead of Norman Clark as we wait for the leaders to come in and see where we pit where the pits all throw out. Mirko is out, Jamie's up there, but let's go back and look at Dyson as he comes around.
I've got a feeling Dyson might be coming in shortly,
yes,
because he's using everything up in those tyres as he gets into pit lane and drifts it through there.
He's still drifting in pit lane too.
Probably running a bit low on fuel now, and that's I reckon this is more because of fuel than tyres. He has come in finally with O'Shea as well, the two pitting together. And this is going to give Jaden Russell the lead of the race now. But he is going to be on some fairly old tyres. Only done 3 laps. That's 15 odd kilometres here, though. So it's a long way for a race car. But he does take the lead of the race now as Daiso and O'Shea start moving through pit lane. Jaden Russell just getting up into turn number 1, getting the car pointed straight and turns it in. And you can see the gap now. Not a huge gap between himself and Dyson. Dyson is going to have those very fresh tyres now. So this is going to be a very tricky one for Russell to keep that car in first position. But he's still got a podium position for tonight. Meanwhile, a little bit further back, we've got Gallagher and Micklemore. Those two having a fairly strong run tonight in 4th and 5th for Mitch Motorsport. They got O'Shea just between the two of them at the moment. O'Shea, though, on the very fresh tyres. Luke Trahere just fallen back a little bit from Michael Skurlock in 6th. Well, seventh now. No, sixth. Sorry, sixth and seventh. Those two. JCW having a solid run out there. 5 positions gained, just ahead of Matty Ray. Matty Raymond moving up through the field as we come to expect from Matty Ray, moving his way up into the top 10. He's currently sitting in 9th position. Aiden Schultz sitting in 10th at the moment.
It's very interesting. Jaden Russell's out to almost 4 seconds of lead now. It was only, I suppose, Andrew had to get up the pace, but by the end of that top of that hill, he should have been up the pace. Just quickly for those wondering, it doesn't have it on the thing anymore, but it was a 2-minute 18 was Jaden Russell's last lap, which is a good probably 2 seconds slower than it should have been. But that had to do with something else on the track getting in his way, I assume. But Andrew's just sitting there. 3.7, 3.8. It's very interesting at the moment. I guess the big difference there, if you're watching from home, is Andrews Dyson's tyres, as we were talking about before, with overheating them, they're actually probably under heat at the moment. And while they're fresh, they're not as grippy as they should be. It takes about half a lap to get into it, and you'll probably see that lap time start, the differential starting to come down. But there's actually a bit of a battle going on here between the two Simrings cars, as Dylan O'Shea has actually got past Hamish Gallagher pretty convincingly and opened a gap up on him, and it's right back on the back of Andrew Dyson. So maybe some games going on here. Maybe these two want to come through together and get up there, or maybe, I don't know, maybe Andrew's had a bit of an issue, but the differential's starting to come down now. So 3.6 seconds between him and Russell.
I reckon Daiso was just keeping the car just settled a little bit, and he's going to try and go for the fastest lap. Now, I've got a feeling that we might see a fastest lap appear from Andrew Dyson, as he's got O'Shea just behind him. So we'll see if it comes true now. Hamish Gallagher and Micklemore, that gap's closed a little bit between them too. But they're having a solid run tonight, and that's what they need, and that's kind of what you need on a track like this. Watch out for Brad Finlay. He came into pit lane just a lap or so ago. So he is on very fresh tyres. He's currently sitting down in 15th, of course. So he's dropped back a little bit, but he's on the freshest tyres of anybody. So he stayed out a little bit longer. He's really trying that overcut strategy. So he could be one to watch out for later on. He's got a bit of a gap to make up on the cars ahead. 7 seconds to Nathan Rollock. But I reckon he could possibly make that one up, because at the moment, Rollock and Hurley are battling away with Norman Clark. So as those guys battle, it's going to be good for Fenway. But keep an eye on the front, because Dyson is absolutely flying at the moment.
3 seconds off, or 2.8 technically off Russell just in this little period here. You can see on the drone shot from the arena how close they are. By the time he gets across the start-finish line, he'll be in first. The weight he is catching up quite easily. So he just seems to be able to hit lines other people can't right now. And I think O'Shea will be almost in as we see the overtake happen. Coming out of there, going to turn, I think, 15. Although Russell's going to hold the inside line, I don't think it's enough. I think the grip that Dyson's going to show gets him around the outside, as already happened before I can even talk about it. But O'Shea will be second here by the end of the lap as well. We'll have a Simrigs DPR 1-2 on our hands going into lap 17 of 25, and the rest are battling.
The question is, will it be a fastest lap from Dyson?
We are watching for that. It will be 2:15.8, I reckon. 2:13? Is that real?
Oh,
that's not real.
Silly pace. A 2:13.6 from Andrew Dyson. I said he was shaping up for a fastest lap.
Yeah.
That's a very quick lap. Dylan O'Shea just behind a 2:14.2. That is again a silly lap. 2:14.2 is still a couple of tenths faster than the previous fastest lap, which was held by Jaden Russell at 2:16.065. So that is the pace these Simrigs DPR cars have underneath them at the moment. They have definitely got the pace in them, and they are the cars to beat at the moment on the road courses. We often see it, and look, if you can keep at least close to them, you're doing a good job. Meanwhile, Fenwick having a nice run. He's just got up to Norman Clark now. He's on those nice fresh tyres, and he's making his way through the pack now. He's going to try that overcut strategy and see what he can make work out. So it's going to be interesting to see what happens between those guys. I'm keeping slight eye up the front because I reckon there'll be a little bit of battling going on between Dyson and O'Shea, seeing who can be the best DPR out there. But at the moment, you got to say Dyson definitely seems to have the speed. He's got the fresher looking car as well. A little bit less front end damage for Dyson as he makes a big lock up going through the corner, and it gives O'Shea the opportunity to go down the inside. O'Shea having a little bit of connectivity issues at the moment, blinking in and out of the shadow realm. But he is back on the screen, so that's good news. Dyson just doing that little bit of defending now, keeping O'Shea behind him, and this gives Jaden Russell the chance just to pull up behind them a little bit. Watch out for Hamish Gallagher and Micklemore, though, because they are catching a bit on the synergy driver, too. So Gallagher and Russell, as well as Micklemore, might be a little bit of a battle as we've got 8 laps remaining here at COTA for the Southern Star 86 here in the Lone Star State of Texas.
Can I just make note? I just saw a purple sector pop up for Dylan O'Shea. He's a good second ahead of him and Russell, actually really good lap times at the moment. So, or no, sorry, I look at it and what the timing said was no, it's 2:17. So he had a really good sector in there at one stage though, Dylan. So, but yeah, these guys are getting the 1-2 order ready. We'll see who will battle it out for a little bit, and then we'll come across the line 1-2. Looking backwards a little bit, I was watching before Aiden Schultz, top 10 currently, sitting 9th. You got Matty Raymond, as we mentioned, from where he came up to, was a really good effort to get up to the top 10 before, as he gets sideways around that corner before that when we went to him. And JCW sitting there in 8th with his banged up little front nose of his car. But Luke Trahair sitting there as well. It's sort of all spreading out now. Josh Micklemore and Hamish Gallagher just sitting there, 1 or 2, chasing down Jaden Russell, but 3 seconds now between Jaden Russell and the leader. 3 seconds between Jaden Russell and Hamish Gallagher. So it's all sort of, they're in their places. We've got 7 laps to go to see if any of these boys will make a mistake.
Yeah, that's it. One mistake can be really costly right now, as it's looking like O'Shea's trying make a little bit of a move on Dyson down into turn 12. Can't quite make it shape up at the moment, but they are going to keep on battling as they go on. As I say, one to watch out for Finlay and Clark. Those two are getting close to each other. Finlay, of course, on the nice fresh tyres. Clark on slightly older tyres. Clark, wily veteran that he is, though, will make that one of the widest Mustangs you have ever seen out in Texas. The 09 out there just ahead of the 20 of Fenway. So keep an eye out for that one. But those fresh tyres are definitely paying off for Finlay at the moment.
And somewhere like this hairpin is the best spot to use those. But the problem is, if you do use them wrong, you can basically waste them. And once you overheat them, as we were talking before, that whole advantage that he came in with, or that he worked himself into, can be gone.
Yeah, look, that is it. It's so easy. We saw at the start of the race as well that lockup for Sean Hurley going into Kai Turner. Unfortunately, it's very easy to lock up and cause a big accident there as well. So you have to be careful in those spots. Jamie Curvis coming through pit lane to serve a penalty. So he's obviously been off track a few too many times tonight. So he's had to have a quick drive through pit lane. And it is one of those things you've got to be careful of as well, as we were talking about before in the broadcast. It is very easy to get 12Xs. Of course, in ANZCAR, there's not really much room for forgiveness. It is a very strict set of rules. You've only got 12 times of going off track, or 12 instant points if you make a bit of damage or have a spin or anything like that. Can really be costly. Because you've got to go through pit lane, and then a few more of them, and you get disqualified, of course. No fast repairs either, as we've got to change for the lead up the front. It is O'Shea getting in front of Dyson through
Has he gone wide,
11.
though? He has gone wide, which lets Dyson get it straight back. But it's a battle. These guys are battling down the back straight, and there's rubbing. The teammates are really trying to bring the rest of the field back into this as they kiss front wheel on back wheel. And it'd be interesting here. Dyson has got the inside for the corner, but will that mean he overshoots it and O'Shea can get the run on him? Doesn't seem to be the case. But this is definitely a battle going on right now.
gotta say, it's like watching a cat playing with a mouse, isn't it? Really, it's a fun little battle, but Dyson seems to be just have it in hand at the moment. But how many times have we seen overconfidence not pay off in motorsport? Sometimes you can have all the confidence in the world, and then it just takes one mistake.
Well, look, honestly, going down that back straight with these cars, that touch could have been dire for both of them as O'Shea goes beautifully down the inside there, going into the second last corner, and we're going into the last corner here, and Dyson is going to make it all stick for the final corner as we come home, and he will be the leader going into lap 19, I believe. No, lap 20. Be interested to see here. So Dyson's got the inside here. He'll have to brake late to hold on to it, but O'Shea goes real wide. Will he cut back? And these guys are starting to burn tyres, to be honest, but we know their speed. They've probably got the ability to do so. But if it was a lot closer race, this would actually be, I'd be commenting on how these guys are going to lose the race by making this much of a battle happen right now with 5 to go. But they still seem to be holding about a 3.5 second gap over Russell. Obviously, they don't want to make the gap too big, but 3 seconds. Jaden's slowly catching here right now, so it'd be very interesting to see what happens with these guys. You know, we were talking about tyres before. These guys, we saw Andrew going sideways there before. Dylan's going deep under brakes. Anything can happen here.
Anything can happen in motorsport, and it usually does. Good race going on between Hickey and Hurley at the moment. Hickey trying to defend against Hurley as they come up into turn number 1. Hurley got the outside, Hickey on the inside. Who is going to be able to make it through? Hurley's going to be set up nicely as they go down towards the S's and the sweeping curves. Hurley manages to make that position back. Strong drive from Hurley. We saw him have to go through pit lane to serve a penalty, remember, so he lost a handful of positions after that. A little bit further up, we got Matty Ray ahead of Aiden Schultz at the moment. Matty Ray getting another position, moving up nicely as Schultz just made a little bit of a mistake going through the S's, and it cost him a couple of attempts.
Yeah, so you can see the boys up front have actually settled down, quickly go back to them. It's almost 4 seconds out to Jaden Russell now, so you can see how much a difference that makes. These boys that are that much quicker than everyone else battle for a bit, comes back to a second, and now it's blown back out to 4.5 seconds between the leader and Jaden Russell. Micklemore is ahead of Hamish Gallagher here. I didn't actually see that move because it was only not long ago before I saw Hamish was ahead of Josh. So Josh is coming through really well, showing that he's got a little bit more speed at the moment. Unless Hamish has made a mistake, showing that he's about 1.6 seconds slower this lap than the previous one. So could have been a small little mistake there. As Aiden Schultz gets Matty Raymond back as well.
It was a moment in turn 11 that cost Hamish Gallagher that position. And look, Micklemore's not going to look a gift horse in the mouth here. He's going to quickly try and get that position back because, yeah, it's a close, let's say, championship-wise. There's not only the regular championship, of course. We have it split into 3 seasons technically for the ANZCAR Xfinity Series for the Thunder and the trucks, but there is also a full season length battle as well. Big moment there for Ruben.
We were talking about those yellow curves before. Matty just decided to just disregard any kind of help that we're going to give him from going over yellow curves, but Ruben Phelps there goes wide as well. These guys are, they're not enjoying the last 5 laps of this race, I don't think, on the tyres that they're on.
No, these tyres will be very second hand by now. But I was just saying, there is the full season championship as well. So
yes.
It's not just the sort of 3 mini championships. There is a full season championship to play for, and that is something that Hamish Gallagher is wanting to win.
Yes, definitely is. And what we've known from the start, so every little spot he drops down this field, he is going to be upset, especially when it's his own little mistake there. That is another thing, as Clark is holding off Brad still, which is quite interesting. But yeah, Hamish, every spot he loses now is a potential problem for down the track.
There was a big moment just before Brad Fenley and Nathan Rollock. Fenley tried for the late breaking up into turn 1.
I think I've got it. I just a little bit got to go back. Let's have a quick look at this. Yeah, just a little bit late.
Similar to that incident we saw at the start of the race, just breaks a little bit too late. Norman Clark was trying the up and under, but unfortunately,
Oh,
Nathan Rollock got caught with that one, and that really cost him big there.
yeah, I was just gonna. That's interesting. That's Brad's gone from way back. He's obviously sick of being behind. Behind
Norman Clark.
behind Norman Clark. Let's have a look from his cockpit. Like this is he almost chops the nose off. Well, he obviously does, but just that little touch.
Yeah, almost made it through, but it's just that little touch, and that's what does it. He has gained
Redress.
position. Oh, Skerlock in pit lane. Skerlock in pit lane.
Wow.
Is this a penalty or is this Skerlock's night over and done with?
I don't know, but I can't show his pit crew on stream anymore. He is just driving through, so he has used one too many X's in this race. As we go back to the front and watch these boys. So Luke Trahair up into 6th. Very good job from him. As we go back, the fast charging Josh Micklemore has taken Jaden Russell and put Jaden Russell right in the hands of Hamish Gallagher. So
Russ making a big mistake in the S's. He cuts the S's off and he gets a slowdown for that as well. So he hits the curb just in the start of the S's. And as we're talking about those yellow curbs, people say, we don't know what we're talking about. Sometimes we do.
Oh, he gets a lot of air. Let's have a look at that. Have a look at this on slow-mo. We were talking about how bad it was before, and that's a big moment, especially when you're sitting there in 3rd and then comes back onto the track.
Let's hope he doesn't own a butt kicker. That would really, really hurt right now. If you don't know, the butt kicker is a little device that sits under your seat just to give you a bit of feeling for the car. It sort of vibrates underneath you. I don't know if that sounds right, but
just Google it, butt kicker, and Kyle, you'll be right. You'll get something that I'm sure is fine, especially in the outfit he's in tonight. So look,
the Midnight Cowboy himself, Carl.
Carl butt kicking. No, we won't go there. Let's go. Andrew Dyson and Dylan O'Shea now have a full 10-second lead, or 9.5 second over Josh Micklemore now in 3rd, which is a great effort for him. We were never talking about him as a podium spot potential before, but as we said, one little mistake changes everything. These boys are lapping around the same pace right now, so it's actually going to be fairly hard for Jaden to get up there. Remember, he also went for the undercut. He's been on those tires the longest out there, so he has got that at his disadvantage now. So the only thing I think coming up is Tristan is about to get lapped, so as long as he stays out of the way, we should be right here. But very good effort from Josh Micklemore.
Tristan's been lapped by...
He's about to go a lap down to these 3 guys. He's already been a lap down to the Simrigs boys, but he's about to be technically traffic for Josh, Jaden, and Hamish. So,
and unlike an oval, you do actually get shown the blue flag here.
I do love being an official on a road track in the NASCAR, and the most common question is, "What's this blue flag they're flaving at me? What's this blue flag? What do I do with that?" And then the usual response is, "Get out of my something way." So it's very interesting to see as Josh comes beautifully out of that hairpin, goes wide. There is a 1X out there. There's no slowdown though. So
just jumping back to Luke Trahair, he has got a big battle on his hands defending against a fast charging Skerlock. Skerlock is right on his rear after going through pit lane for that penalty.
With a very interesting car looking behind him as well.
I think that might be Luke Georgeson.
It is Luke Georgeson.
Yeah, he lost a lot of that front end in a crash earlier on. Just going back to see what happened to Luke. Nothing much. He had a big spin earlier on, lost a lot of time, and when Skerlock came out, it just put him behind Luke Trahair. So this is a really close battle for the front. We've got 2 and a bit laps going on now. It is Dyson, O'Shea, Micklemore, Russell, Gallagher, Trahair, Skerlock, Carol Walden, Schultz, Raymond. Top 10 at the moment, but those can all change very quickly.
Hamish is just dropping off too, so I don't know whether he had a bit of a moment there when they got past Tristan, but he's definitely dropping off from Jaden and Josh at the moment. But that that lead is now out to 11 seconds between first and second, and then third through fifth. But yeah, the real battle here is Luke Trahair's doing a great job holding on down that sixth spot at the moment, to be honest. 0.3 of a second behind. He's got Skirley all over his mirror. Skirley's been faster all night because he has been up there. He's just had those, obviously the one self spin, which didn't help, and then the penalty for the 12x. But he's all over him with two laps to go. It'll be interesting to see if Luke can actually hold out this position.
Yeah, he's really having to use every tactic in the book to keep Skirley behind him. Scullock is trying very hard for a charge at the moment, and it's not quite working for him, as Trahair just goes a little slightly different line there, but it is working for him nicely at the moment. There's beautiful drone cam footage catching up with the cars. A very fast moving drone there.
That was actually technically the chopper. This is the drone. We've got some good stuff. We've got camera. I've been very lazy tonight because I'm not 100% confident with where these things show. And as you saw before, we've got some crowd footage in there as well. But look, it's some would say a horrible looking track, but it's just one of those very interesting tracks where there's something always happening. You can never be resting on your laurels anywhere. But these.
Honestly, one of the hardest things calling a road course like this, because there is always something going on, and trying to catch it on camera makes it all the harder.
As Luke goes wide out of the hairpin yet again. Shout out to Luke, with considering the condition his car's in. Maybe that front aero is actually helping. The lack of front aero is helping him out there, but holding on to
he is on fresh tyres.
He is on fresh tyres. That would slightly help as well.
Yeah. Yeah, so his tyres have only done 3 laps, whereas those guys ahead of him have done around about 10 to 11 laps. So yeah, that's definitely helping the car look a little bit faster than it actually is. Meanwhile, as the white flag will be flown, we got 1 lap remaining. Last lap of the race, folks, and it is Dyson versus O'Shea here for the win. Who is going to get this one? You've got to say, it's looking good for Dyson at the moment. O'Shea is going to really try and push it now, because this is his last chance to get that win in the Xfinity Series. He is going to desperately want to try and get that tonight, and beat his teammate in Andrew Dyson, of course. It's always nice when you can beat your teammate.
And he has hit that. He will get a slowdown from this. O'Shea should... O'Shea's pulled back, I guess.
O'Shea has been very kind there to Dyson, because he is just sitting back.
We saw what happened with Jaden Russell. Did the exact same thing and lost a couple of positions out of it. O'Shea gets a bit sideways there in celebration early. But that could have gone horribly wrong. If that was a skippy, this guy would be picking up his wheels and walking off the track right now. But luckily they're in a bit more of a beefy car that is the Xfinity car, as they sideways onto the final back straight, and they're just showing off now. These boys know their team orders, and they're going to finish the exact way they're supposed to right now, no matter what. So I'm half thinking that Dyson might have been doing that on purpose, that when he's hit the yellow ripple strip.
I don't think he wanted to hit that yellow curve in all honesty.
Well, we'll find out at some stage, I'm sure, when we get him up into the booth.
Because, yeah, it's one of those dodgy things that can sometimes ruin a bit of the car. But I'm wondering if we'll see a repeat of the 2002 Formula One Grand Prix in America, of course, at the Indianapolis circuit.
Oh, he's hit him. That was definitely some contact.
Well, if you remember your Formula One history, there was a little bit of a team finish for the Ferrari team where they were trying to orchestrate the closest finish in history, with Schumacher taking the victory in 2002. It didn't quite work out in their favour, because Barrichello just picked him at the line and got the victory. So will we see a similar thing here tonight? They are
as the boys are drifting up a storm, and there's a slowdown there somewhere. So, this is going to be very interesting. You gotta love having 11-second lead on the field as you come around the final thing. And if he gets a slowdown out there and crosses the finish line, there could be a disqualification, to be honest. But there we go. 1-2 Simrigs, DPR. Andrew Dyson beats home Dylan O'Shea, with Josh Micklemore getting the final spot on the podium, and Jaden Russell, after having such a tremendous race, being relegated to 4th. Hamish Gallagher 5th.
jumping back to Luke Trahair and Michael Skurlock, those two still battling it out, but Trahair looks to have it in his pocket at the moment. Just got to keep ahead of Skurlock and try and get through this final corner. Skurlock tries for a bit of a lunge. It's going to be a bit of a drag race out the final corner, but it looks like Trahair is going to come home 6th. Skurlock in 7th. Finally, Joshua Carroll-Walden will come around the corner for P8. Then we jump back to Aidan Schultz coming home in 9th. Nice job for him, for the Southern Stars team, of course. The Southern Stars 86 here tonight at Circuit of Americas here in Texas. They have got a top 10 finish for the team. Maddie Ray next up across the line for SRM in the 83. Comes home in 10th position. A good night for him, 4 positions gained. Sean Hurley manages to come home in at 11th despite having to serve that drive-through penalty. Good result for him. Bill Hickey next up to come towards the finish line. P12 for him tonight. Lost a couple of positions, but a good run. Norman Clark up in 13th position with 3 positions gained. Brad Fenley could not get it done in the end with the overcut strategy. He comes home 14th, just in front of Matty Hunter in 15th position for the Vision Motorsports team. Nathan Rollett will be coming home in 16th position. We saw him get a little bit of a punt on the front straight, but he does come home in 16th. 17th for Ruben Phelps. Tristan Koch is the next car, but being a lap down, he is pretty much finished in P18. Luke Georgeson 19th. Jamie Nankervis 20th. 21st for Gary Wellman, Moko Dortnack, Nolly Tompkins, Nigel Patton, Dave Douglas, Greg Spencer, Raymond Yeager, and Kai Turner. The unfortunate recipient of a bit of a punt early on in the race, removing him from this race early on.
That is it, as we get ready to show you the one and only Carl Wilkinson in his beautiful butt-kicking outfit. Is that what it is? I can't remember.
Oh, that's it. I've got to do a little show off for Dave Douglas, of course. There we go, Dave. He asked us... full celebration here at Texas. A great race there. A very, very commanding win there for Daiso. Dylan O'Shea coming home 2nd. Good drive from both of those two coming from the back of the field. 22 positions gained each. So both of them gained the biggest gain of the race, of course. Josh Micklemore, strong P3 for him. We know that he can struggle on the road courses. It's not his favourite place. But he did a really good job coming home in 3rd, beating Jaden Russell, who came home 4th. That early pit call for him really hurt him in the end of the race. And then P5 for Hamish Gallagher.
I just remembered I wasn't on webcam. There you can see behind the scenes. So we're back. Yes. Look, what a race. There's definitely 3 there that were absolutely just, hard to separate. Then there was 2 that were just above them. We saw from the start, they started at the back, they worked their way through, they played their silly games all the way through, as they do, because they knew they were a good lap ahead of everyone else. But well done to Andrew Dyson and Dylan O'Shea. Great work from Josh Micklemore. I'm really impressed by how he is. We get to talk to him tonight, which is really good. Great to see him on the podium. Great to see Hamish Gallagher not on the podium. Nothing, no offense, Hamish, but it's good for the championship, and it's great to see. And Jaden Russell as well, sitting there in 4th after that one mistake. We talk about 25 laps on a 2 minute and 20 second lap on average. He's made one mistake, and it's cost him a podium, and only by less than a second as well. It's hard.
The important thing for J. Russ is he beat Gallagher.
Yes, that's
those 2 are fighting it out in the championship, and that's his so what he's got his eye on at the moment. But don't discount the man we're going to grab down in a moment, Josh Micklemore, of course, coming home for 3rd position in the Mitch Motorsport team. He's currently sitting in 5th in the championship, 27 points off the lead. So let us grab down Josh Micklemore for Mitch Motorsport. As I grab down first.
Grabs the wrong person.
Somebody jumped in the room just as I went to pick up the 3rd place man, Josh Micklemore. Josh, welcome to the broadcast booth. P3 tonight at COTA. You must be pretty happy with that one.
Yeah, I don't know how I did that. It's my first ever top five around a road course in any of the three NASCARs in the last 6 odd years. So, and then I finished third, so it feels like a bloody win tonight, man.
Absolutely. I was just saying before, it's not your favoured territory, the old road courses, but tonight it went all your way. You just had a really strong race, very consistent all night long, very few mistakes by yourself, and just really capitalising on those small little errors in front of you and just picking up those positions nicely.
Yeah, Magic pick off a couple straight off the bat on the first lap. People were on cold tyres and whatnot, and then I was sort of behind Hamish then for a good old 10, 11 laps, and then he started to wear his tyres out. We both pitted, and then I'm thinking to myself, I might have something here on the longer run against these guys for once. And yeah, sure enough, Hamish started wearing out his stuff again, so I went past him, and then JS, unfortunately for him, made a mistake, and that's all we needed to get up there. So it was good fun, though.
Yeah, it's slightly older tyres as well for J Russ, and it paid off for you just coming in, just on your strategy as well. Slightly younger tyres must have helped a little bit in that respect. It looks like your car was pretty solid out there tonight. Didn't look like you were wearing the tyres out quite as much as some of the other drivers.
Yeah, just trying to take care of the stuff and not trying to get too many incidents in case we had something like the boys did on Monday night in the track. So the last corner was a big bloody collision at the rear end, and one of the boys, Riley Curse, unfortunately got black flag for it. So yeah, we're making sure we didn't have too many incidents as well. We're just looking after our stuff, and yeah, ended up paying off tonight.
I did wonder actually what happened to Riley on Monday night, so that explains that one for me. No, look, a really strong finish tonight. Good to see you back on the podium as well. Of course, one of the few drivers in the Xfinity cars to get a win so far this season as well. So this is going to be a nice result for the championship, and possibly a little bit of an unexpected one as well here at COTA.
Yeah, definitely unexpected. We used to finish on the bottom of the leaderboards lately, and especially in Cup. So yeah, it's good to be up here and get a really good finish here at COTA tonight. And yeah, it's good fun.
Now, look, congratulations, Josh. Wilco, do you have anything to add for Mr. Micklemore tonight?
No, look, I very well done, very good race. We were commenting on the broadcast how it was faultless, and it was the two in front of you that did. They only needed to make the one mistake, and you were there to capitalise. Hamish obviously getting a little bit wide there, and Jaden hitting the worst sausage curve you've ever seen. How did it feel going past Jaden and watching him after that getting the car almost on its side?
Yeah, he had a bit of a big one. Unfortunately, he wasn't this good with us tonight, as he normally does. But I think he had a little issue as well. But I don't know if that sort of ended it, made the mistake for him, whatnot. But yeah, it was a good fun race. It was good racing with him once again.
Was there any thought going into the pit strategy when you went into it? Were you always going to go where you were, or?
Yeah, I was going to go lap 12 regardless. So we knew we had an extra lap on the tyres from J Russ, and in those last few closing laps, like the last 6 odd laps, I could see I was reeling him in slowly but surely. And I think if he didn't make a mistake, we probably might have ran out of laps. Might have been right on his tail on the last lap or something. But yeah, it is what it is.
So I've got one more comment from the Facebook that I need you to tackle for us. Some guy called Trev Micklemore. I've never heard of him, but yeah, he's claiming, he's throwing out the claim that you've taken a shortcut somewhere in the course if you've gotten third place on a road course. Is that this true? Did we miss something?
Yeah, it's just like Super Mario Bros. And all that. There's little shortcuts every now and then, mate. Yeah, I just took one then. Nah.
Yeah,
So
Josh was running the national circuit tonight. So.
Yeah.
So look, I'll take Carl's words. Common things, shout out, sponsors, all that kind of stuff.
Yeah, you guys for Locked On Lads TV putting in your time. Carl, I've seen the intro as well. That was bloody sick, man. I like that with the Texas thing. Yeah, you guys obviously. Med has designs for sponsorship this year, as well as Affinity Constructions Australia for all the sponsorship this year, and the Mitch Motorsport boys for all the hard work. That's about it.
Lovely. Thank you so much, Josh. Always a pleasure. Hopefully, we'll get you back in the booth soon.
Yeah, no worries, guys. Cheers.
Josh Mickelmore there for Mitch. So next up, we will grab for DPR Mr. Dylan O'Shea.
Will we?
Hopefully, I get the right one this time. And up into the booth for DPR, Dylan O'Shea. Welcome to the broadcast booth. Congratulations on a strong second place finish tonight. Second time this week you've been the bridesmaid to the bride die. So that must hurt a little bit, but a really strong performance out there tonight.
Yeah, it was good fun, just cruising around. Made it a bit interesting for ourselves starting at the back. But,
I was gonna ask about starting at the back, the back to front challenge for you guys tonight. Obviously, giving yourselves a little bit more work to do. Working your way through the field tonight. Obviously, you got a little bit caught up with somebody. You saw a little bit of damage on the front. What happened there?
I think I just misjudged it. I kind of went up the inside, thinking they were going to break early, like how I did all my other passes, and just ended up going a bit too deep and rubbing them up. But oh well, it's racing, mate.
Look, it does happen, as you say. That is racing. One of your strongest finishes, I think, in the Xfinity series.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm
it's
trying to
equal
think.
with my ANZCAR, so yeah.
Yeah, I'm trying to think. Have we had you on the podium so far?
Nah, first time.
No. Okay, good. Yeah, first time. Because I have to think back sometimes, and it's tricky because I sort of try to think back to who's been and who's not been on podiums. First time podium in ANZCAR, which is great news for yourself. Obviously, going to see you in the Cup tomorrow night.
Yeah, try and have a dip, see where we can end up. It'll be difficult with the car because it's really unpredictable, but we'll see how we go.
A very different beast indeed, but 2 podiums in ANZCAR this week. Of course, we saw you in second place in the trucks, second place here tonight. A very strong finish, and you must be pretty happy with this as well. In sort of championship perspective, it's going to help out a little bit in the old championship. We saw you down in about 19th position. Obviously, you're not able to run a full championship this season in Xfinity.
Nah, just having fun with it, to be honest. So.
No, it's good to see. Look, hopefully we'll get to see you back in the top 3 on an oval soon, because we've definitely seen improvements there.
Yeah, we'll see. Road course is my thing, but try and improve on the oval, see what we can do.
Oh, look, it's only a matter of time. Wilco.
Yeah, so I just want to go back to chat again. We've got one guy called Neil Pearson in chat. He's apparently telling Dylan to punt. Andrew, how come you didn't?
Oh yeah, he was talking it up on Disco a bit, but gotta play the fair game here.
Now
no dirty rubbing in DPRA.
We saw Andrew smack a sausage curve, almost put himself on his side as well, and you didn't take advantage of it. Was that on purpose? The Andrew hitting the thing did he say he could see if he could flip the car?
Nah, he was just being a bit of a wheel wobbler, but is what it is.
No, yeah. Obviously, you guys looked like you had a lot of fun out there on that last lap as well. A 10-second lead didn't really matter, but a quick shout out to your sponsors and well done on having a lot of fun tonight and a great finish.
Yeah, I'd just like to thank ANZCAR and the admins there for putting this show on. Good fun. The broadcast as well. It's awesome watching it back and seeing how much of a Billy I am. And the team sponsors, simrigs.com, Southwell Lift and Hoist, Ben Max Mechanical, Phoenix Smoker, and NP Designs.
Excellent.
Awesome.
You can take it out, Carl.
Oh, yeah, yes. So, jumping over each other here. Thank you so much, Dylan. I'm sure we'll catch you back in the booth in the near future.
Cheers, mate.
And finally tonight, we'll grab up our winner of the race. I suppose we should probably talk to that person. The winner of the race for DPR, Mr. Andrew Dyson. Welcome back to the broadcast booth. Congratulations on a very well-deserved victory here tonight. Second win of the week for yourself in ANZCAR. Trying for the triple again on the road courses.
Yeah, hey guys, thanks, mate. I don't know, man, but tomorrow night will be pretty tricky, but yeah, we'll have a go and see how we end up.
Well, tonight it looked to go very much all in your favour. You put into the hard yards by starting down in stupid start down
22nd.
23rd, 22nd.
Yeah.
Yeah, 22nd, I think it was. A fair few places down. Working your way through the field, obviously, just gave us some nice overtakes on the old broadcast. How tricky was it to get up through the field tonight?
For the most part, there's a lot of passing spots around this track, so it's not too bad. There was a few times there where I kind of had to sit behind someone and wait to make a move, but this track there's a lot of places you can pass on, so it wasn't too bad to be honest. But actually, one of the guys last year in some of the circuit races said, "Gee, Dyson, I wish you'd start at the back one time and just to see what happens." I'm like, yeah, okay, I might try that tonight, because on Monday, me and Dill had a good race. And thought we'd do something a bit different tonight and see how we go with it. And yeah, it was a lot of fun. We enjoyed it, and I think a few of the other guys enjoyed it as well. So it was cool.
Well, for the couple of milliseconds that I saw you guys as you were lapping me, I enjoyed watching the action on Monday.
Oh right, yeah, no, that's these guys are pretty tricky on road courses, man. So don't let it get to you.
No, look, a really good performance out there tonight. I'm sure Wilco would like to ask you about a certain yellow curb.
Yeah, last lap, what happened? Was that on purpose?
Was that on the last lap, was it?
Yeah, because we gave you the whole last lap. We watched the whole last lap, and then all of a sudden drama happened. I actually made the call that you did it on purpose. It was showing off. Is that true?
Nah, I didn't. I was just wobbling around. Really, I must have been chatting to the boys or just doing something silly, and I think Neil was actually egging on Dylan at the time to tell him to run into me or something. So we were having a bit of a chuckle, but I just wobbled my way into it, and it was a bit of a scare, but it was all good. Got away with that one.
Yes, you definitely did. How close were you, do you think, to getting a slowdown on that last corner? Because you were very sideways and you had a lot of rubber on the green. Were you ever in concern? You had that thing under control the whole way?
Oh, I don't think there's any slowdowns at the last corner, so you can use up a fair bit of road. The second last corner, if you cut it too much, you probably do. I actually don't know. I've never cut it a whole lot.
Because you cut it a hell of a lot.
Yeah, you can use a fair bit of it. It does give you an off track, but I don't think it gives you a slowdown. So
Okay.
For anyone out there looking to get a cheeky move done somewhere at some point, just use an off track and don't get a slowdown.
That's it. Look, congratulations again tonight. Obviously, the normal thing, shout out to sponsors and all that kind of stuff.
I'll probably just say thanks to you guys for putting on the broadcast, and thanks to ANZCAR for putting these races on. We really appreciate it. I'll shout out to all the boys in DPR. I'll just say thanks to Simrings.com and South Wellington Hoist. And hopefully we can have a good race tomorrow night and see how we go.
Awesome. Best of luck for the Cup action tomorrow. We look forward to seeing you back in the booth sometime soon, I'm sure, Mr. Dyso. I imagine it won't be too long, but congratulations on a very good win tonight.
Yeah, anything can happen tomorrow, but no, thanks, mate. I appreciate it.
Andrew Dyson there for DPR, the winner of tonight's race. So, Pistol Pete, good race here at Texas.
Yeah, it wasn't too bad, was it? A lot of stuff happening. There was definitely some action going on. Interesting to see just how much faster those guys are than the rest of the field. And interesting to see how much fun they can have with all that pressure taken off, to be honest. But yeah, like I said, obviously those two winning by so far. But the big story for me was Josh Micklemore getting up ahead of Jaden Russell and Hamish Gallagher at the end. Aiden Schultz getting in the top 10 there with Matty Raymond as well from a very good drive. And Norman Clark actually held off Brad Finlay at the end there. Considering Brad had that massive overcut of the tyres, Norman Clark did a very good job of holding on to him. Holding him off.
As I said, you can't discount the veterans, wily, cunning old Norman. He absolutely did a nice job of defending that position. 3 positions gained in that race as well. Not an easy thing to do at COTA. It's one of those tracks that, it's easy to pass that, but these cars are an absolute beast to get around. Of course, we are back here tomorrow night over on the ANZCAR Facebook page, All Performance e-streaming for the Cup Series. But, of course, there is much, much more to come on the Locked On Lads stuff. And, Wilco, we've got a bit of an anniversary for you guys.
Yeah, that's right. It's probably tonight too. Probably been 12 months since we started the podcast. It's around about now, but we are celebrating on Friday night. Now, we haven't put an episode out last week. We haven't put an episode out this week. We are doing it live on all these channels that we're doing right now. Locked On Lads YT, YouTube, Locked On Lads Twitch, and Locked On Lads on Facebook. We'll be live. All 5 of us will be sitting there. It will be a very different episode. It's just going to be us chatting. we have no script. We're just going to see where we go. And we've got a whole heap of questions and shout outs from the audience. If you want to do that, there's Facebook pages, posts to do that. There's also our Discord, lockedonlads.com/Discord, where you can get in and submit your questions, which we will answer no matter how stupid some of them are. I'm looking at you, Jay Kennedy. And we will answer them and give you your feedback and see how we go. So thank you, Balf ANZ Racing Inc. For the raid as well on Twitch. You've just come to the end of a broadcast from ANZCAR from Locked On Lads TV. Quickly, next week, we're at Richmond, by the way, for Mad Ad Designs, 115 laps around Richmond. We do have the podcast this Friday night as well. We will try and get Tim Corn and maybe myself into COTA Cup Series tomorrow night for Locked On Racing. Big shout out to the big fundraiser we've got in the works at the moment too. Keep an eye out for that. I may even dress up for a broadcast if we get enough donations. I'm not going to say what, but I'm happy. Put in donations when we drop it live, and you can tell me what I've got to do.
Is that something that's possible? Will we see you actually wearing a tie and something smart for once?
If someone's going to donate the money, I will do it. I'm also looking at sorry, we will catch you next time, Val. Sorry, we'll send the party on though at the end. Don't worry. Thank you everyone for joining and rating and all that kind of stuff. I'm eyeing off a couple things. So we've got a couple live broadcasts and podcasts in that time period. We've also got a few races, but there's an enduro in the SRW League for the V8s in the time period where we're looking at. So there is the potential there of doing another enduro fundraiser as well. But also we're looking tentatively at maybe putting on a race night as well through Locked On Lads and do a bit of a donation there. Many things coming up. It's going to be a 2-week long period. I've set the goal really high, so I hope everyone out there can help us raise money for cancer, which is such a good cause. So, but that's what we've got planned. You can follow us on all the channels, basically go to Facebook. That's where a lot of the stuff is. But shout out anyone who is dealing with cancer at the moment or any kind of effects of that, because that's what we're going to be raising money for. But another great night of racing here tonight at COTA. We are going to Richmond next week, as we said, for round number 7 before we start getting into the pointy end of the season. Next week is my last week before a couple of weeks holiday. Carl will be taking over. I don't know who'll be sitting in my chair, but someone will. But when I come back, hopefully I have some really cool overlays and changes. By the way, shout out tonight to Carter Deans, who's done our intro music. The 5 odd minutes of music coming into the broadcast tonight was by him. We'll talk a bit more about that on Friday night. Also, a massive announcement on Friday night on the podcast as well, with the broadcasting side of things as well. So happy to announce that fairly soon. But thank you everyone for dropping by. And Carl, any final words?
Oh, look, as always, a big thank you to you, Locked On Lads, Locked On Lads TV and Locked On Lads for getting everything going and broadcasting the ANZCAR Thunder Series this season. It is an absolute pleasure to be working with you.
Thank you very much. I was so scared when I threw to you then. I didn't know what was going to happen. But let's go. Let's talk to you all next week. See you later. Bye.